All right, let's do the LancesLock.com podcast as we get ready for week 3 of college football. I've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games we'll talk about with Lance Taylor. I'm Jim Dunaway, and LancesLock.com for all your official plays. Remember, we record this on Friday, so some of Lance's leans or plays can change before kick on Saturday morning, but you can go get LancesLock.com at a very reasonable price.
Look, it's $90 a month. We had somebody on the show not long ago, and I think they said they charge $4,900, over $4,900 for the entire season. We're $90 a month. You can monitor us. We'll give you a free play each and every day. If you don't like what you're getting, you can jump out at any time. Again, it's $90, $3 a month. Simple math there. We haven't been great in college football. Go back week 1, we were 5-6 on that Saturday. We were 6-7 last Saturday. We've got to dial it in. We're 5-2 in the NFL, though. So we're getting that going, and we're going to win for you. We've never had a losing year. This is 6 years. We've been up and operational. We've never lost. We will win. We'll get college football dialed in. It's been very average up until this point. I like this card, though.
All right, here we go. Early slate, early windows, national games. No good SEC games to start with. Nebraska and Oklahoma, old school rivalry, but this has been a series of blowouts when they've been mismatched.
Well, you look at Oklahoma, Lincoln Riley not only wins games, he covers 7-2 against the number his last 9 out. The favorite has covered 4 of the last 5 previous meetings. They haven't met since the 2010 Big 12 championship game, and Scott Frost just hasn't been good in big games. He's 0-7 against top 25s. This game means so much to Scott Frost, and I do think Adrian Martinez, if he doesn't put too much pressure on himself, he can make some plays against this Oklahoma defense. This number is stretched out to 22.5. You know I don't like these early games, but I'm going to lean the dog here. I don't love this. I doubt this will be on my card tomorrow, but right now I'm going to tell you, play Nebraska plus 22.5. The first 2 weeks of Fox games, last week Ohio State, Oregon, go back week 1. Who did we have in that Fox window at 11 o'clock? It was a really good game.
Oh, it was Penn State, Wisconsin.
Yeah, Penn State, Wisconsin. We've had one possession game. So we've had fun games. Maybe somehow Nebraska, much like Tulane in week 1, makes this fun against Oklahoma. I'll take the 22.5.
I'd feel a lot more about that upset energy or rivalry injury if the game was in Lincoln and not in Norman. Another game, this one has maybe playoff implications. Cincinnati and Indiana, a little luster off this game. By the way, Indiana played against Iowa in the opener, but still a dangerous place for the Bearcats.
You know, Desmond Ritter's been so good. 776 total yards up until this point. He's thrown 10 touchdowns, only 1 pick. Michael Penix Jr. on the other side, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. He was awful against Iowa. He seems a little off. Fryfogel's one of the best wide receivers in college football. Stephen Carr, the transfer running back from USC, is a guy that should be able to make some plays against this Cincinnati defense. Indiana 8-2, their last 10 against the number as a dog. I think Tom Allen lets the guys know, we let one get past us against Iowa. If we want to have a special season, we've got to win this game at home. I like Indiana plus the points. I think we've got a live dog here.
Yeah, if it helps you at all, I'm a Desmond Ridder guy. I've got Cincinnati on right here. I just feel like he's the better quarterback. Not to say Michael Penix.
Better quarterback. I'll give you that.
Not to say Michael Penix Jr. this year as he was last year. Last game of the early window, and I love this game, Virginia Tech and West Virginia, and I can tell already that we're on opposite sides of this. I think the Hokies are for real this year. I think they'll end up being the best team in the Coastal when it's all said and done. They've already beaten North Carolina. I love Burmeister at quarterback. I feel like I'm saying all these things that you disagree with.
Well, I told you Letty Brown's going to be the difference here. And I think this West Virginia defense is really good. I was surprised that Maryland was able to beat them in week 1. Virginia Tech, a nice upset over North Carolina in week 1. How about these numbers? Virginia Tech 4-11-1 against the number when the line is between -3 and +3. Their last 20 dating back to 1987. West Virginia, though, 11-3-2 as a home favorite since 2017. I think Neil Brown at home with this atmosphere. I think, to me, Burmeister's a good quarterback, but Daigie's just as good. I like West Virginia in this spot, and it's dipped down to 2.5 in a lot of shops. So I like West Virginia here.
Yeah, it's a stake bet game. I think I've got 3.5 points.
You've got 3.
Yeah.
Remember, we did it on 3.
3. Okay, 3. Purdue and Notre Dame as we get to the middle of the day window. This one's in South Bend. It's now off of Peacock. It's on NBC, main NBC, 1:30 kick for this one. Purdue's drum, the largest drum in college football, though Texas and Missouri have built bigger ones now. They can't take it to South Bend because they're not allowing them to use the home entrance into the stadium. They must use the visitor entrance. It's too small, barely big enough for the players to get onto the field. The band barely can get any instruments in. The drum won't fit. So the drum, for the first time in a long time, not making a trip for a Purdue road game. Purdue people are upset about it. Can the Boilers pull an upset?
Well, Notre Dame is lucky that they're not 0-2. You go back to Labor Day night, they should have lost in overtime with that incredible Florida State comeback. They win that game by a possession. Last week, Toledo had them down with a minute and a half to go. I'll give Jack Cohn a lot of credit. The dislocated finger was able to hit Michael Mayer, and they end up winning that game. Cohn, 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He's averaging over 300 yards per game. Kyron Williams hasn't been involved enough. And on the flip side, this Notre defense is light years from where it was last year. They're allowing 5 yards per rush, and they're 92nd nationally in third down conversions allowed.
92nd?
92nd. I think when you look at Jack Plummer, pretty good quarterback for Jeff Brom. Horvath, their starting running back, is out. That's a problem. Backup running back, I don't know what you get with that, but if you've got a capable guy, he'll have some opportunities against this Irish defense. Right now, I'll lean taking Purdue in the points. Again, probably a game I don't give out, but Purdue plus 7.5, a little appetizing to me based on the way Notre Dame has played.
The only other middle-of-the-day game is Alabama, Florida, down in the swamp. Alabama, a couple of touchdown favored in this one, and the numbers have, no matter how you break down the dynasty, the way the team's playing, whatever, the numbers look good for the Tide.
They've been favored in 83 straight games now, and they're 11-4. Their last 15 out as double-digit favorites. They're typically really good in these spots. You go back to Miami Week 1, neutral site in Atlanta. They were flawless in that game. Florida just hasn't looked the part, not even close to the offense that we saw last year. Anthony Richardson's kind of that X factor. What's he going to do when the lights are really on with that atmosphere? If Richardson plays well, I think Florida can keep this game close. To me, it's about Alabama's offense finally struggling. I thought we would have a drop-off from the 2020 Alabama offense to what we have in 2021. It didn't look that way against Miami. I think Florida and Miami are kind of comparable teams, but I think Florida will play much better in this spot. I think Alabama will struggle a little bit offensively. Defense will win it for them. I think this number will hit right on between 10 and 17. I'll say it hits right on that 14 number. I'll take Florida plus 14.5. If this thing dropped below 14, I want nothing to do with it.
Nighttime, and we got 4 good ones here. Let's go Auburn, Penn State, Happy Valley. It's the primetime Fowler-Herb Street game. These two teams are a lot alike in some ways.
Yeah, well, you've got inconsistency at quarterback, and you've got quarterbacks that have talent. Bo Nix has got some talent. Sean Clifford's got that live arm. I don't trust either one of these quarterbacks. I trust Sean Clifford much more at home. I wanted to play Auburn in this game. It's their first ever road game at a Big Ten school since the SEC was formed. They've played great in their first 2 games, but it's against Akron and Alabama State. They've been able to run the football. I've said it all week. Tank Bigsby will be the best offensive player on the field. If I'm James Franklin and Penn State, I'm keying not letting Tank Bigsby beat me. Make Bo Nix make those throws. Bo Nix just hasn't been good on the road. So I think Bo Nix is going to make multiple mistakes. I could see the same for Clifford. I think it'll be a 1-possession game. I don't feel good about laying points, but since this thing has dropped to 5, I think I'd lean Penn State. Again, probably not a game I'm giving out, though.
Okay, one SEC game before we do Pac-12 After Dark, but right now tell people how they can sign up for lanceslock.com.
Yeah, again, Dunaway, it's really simple. Just jump on board, lanceslock.com. We'll give you a free play each and every day. This is year 6 that we've been up and operational. We've never had a losing season for you. We've struggled the first couple of weeks of college football. We were 5-6 week 1, 6-7 last week. We were 5-2 in the NFL week 1, though. We are going to win for you. It's only $90 per month. Jump on board for 1 month. Try it out. See what you think. It's only $3 a day.
Tulane and Ole Miss. And this may be one you just play the total. I'm fascinated by this game because of what we saw Tulane do in a very emotional outing when their home game got moved to Norman to start with. Now they're playing Ole Miss. Matt Corral may be the best quarterback in the Southeastern Conference. Lane Kiffin may be the best play caller. Seems like this is diagnosed for a lot of offensive firepower and a lot of points.
Yeah, I've gotten burned on early totals. I had that Ole Miss Louisville over on the Sunday. Was it the Sunday night?
Labor Day night, Monday night.
Or Labor Day night, yeah. And I couldn't get any production at all out of Louisville. And I don't know how improved Ole Miss's defense is. It looks like DJ Durkin's unit's going to be a little bit better this year. But when you look at this game, 2 of the top 6 offenses face off. Ole Miss averaging 48.5 points per game. Tulane is averaging 52 points per game.
Wow.
Willie Fritz gets these guys to play. I think they're going to be able to score a little bit on Ole Miss. The number's at 14.5. That total is 76, which is a massive total in college football. Kind of like you, man. If I play this game, I'm going to play this over because I do think Ole Miss's defense is better, but it's still a defense on a given Saturday that can give up 28-plus points. And I think if you get 28 to 30 points out of Tulane, that's all you're going to need to get home on this over. So I'm going to play the over 76 here.
Over the 76. Furman was with us earlier in the week. He liked the over, but that was 73 then, so it's moved up that much over time. Last two, and they're both Pac-12 after dark out-of-conference games. We've got Arizona State on the road at BYU, where Provo got in Provo. And last week in Provo, BYU beat Utah, and they hadn't beat them in a long, long time. Kalani Sitake has that program rolling in a really good direction.
Yeah, look, they play with a lot of confidence, and they're physical defensively. And, everybody talked about Zach Wilson and the great quarterback that he was last year, and I'll throw this stat out again. Only Alabama, 15-0, better record than BYU, 13-1 since the start of last season. And a lot of this has to do with them buying into this culture. Kalani Sitake played at BYU. Now they're playing an Arizona State team that has got a ton of experience, 20 returning starters, including an elite quarterback in Jaden Daniels. I'm catching 3.5 at home. I'm taking BYU.
You're taking BYU in that one. And the final one in our LancesLock.com podcast, Fresno State and UCLA. People are painting UCLA as a team that could be an outside playoff contender, a Pac-12 championship contender because of what they did to LSU. Maybe a more physical team coming into play them this week, or maybe a faster team than LSU and Fresno State.
I just wonder, and Chip Kelly's a really good coach, and I think he's finally got it dialed in this year 3 or year 4, whatever the number is now for Chip Kelly. But I wonder if they're looking ahead now to this Pac-12 schedule and saying, hey, we can do some special things based on Utah losing and USC losing and Washington looking so bad. Jake Hanner's a really good quarterback for Fresno State. They're not going to be overwhelmed. They went into Autzen, and they almost beat Oregon. It was a one-possession game. Oregon scored late there. Haener has yet to make a mistake. 8 touchdowns, no picks. He's got 3 rushing touchdowns. He's completing 75% of his passes. They've won 3 straight against UCLA. Last meeting was Chip Kelly's first year in 2018, where they blew out the Bruins. Bruins only allowing 75 rushing yards per game. I think that changes Saturday. Fresno's got the athletes to play with them. You're getting double digits here. Pac-12 after dark, crazy things always happen. I'm taking the dog here. It was my upset alert earlier this week. I'll take the Bulldogs plus 11.
All right, so that's the slate, some of the highlight games for week 3 of college football in our LancesLock.com podcast.